Now that I have it, like the air around my lips, it's part of my warm atmosphere to form my bodily osmosis with the ether. It's the bit that is the gradient between my inside and the outside. Now that I have it, like a ball or an egg in my head, now that I have time again. I come to this hotel once a week. I don't stay. The one in London was tall, and with the right walk you could get to the top. It afforded a view of the King's Cross St Pancras site. Slow running up the neck to the all-seeing eye. It felt like a breath, wide and bleak, milky white overview. Atmosphere visible. This one is different, especially since Esme. It's a pause I might otherwise have struggled to find. A small globule of chemical clean water dribbled down over my view. The illusion of glass, suddenly astonishing and new. The bridge moves across the window, demonstrating the imagery of outside, once removed, seen by the hotel as an eye, not by me. But the straightness, but the flatness, but the cleanness of even the small shrubs and the ever-trickling water feature which, unlike any other constantly flowing body of water, leaves no trace of its consistent and repeated activity. No stalactites or stalagmites. No visualization of the repetition which happens here. It's a stillness which bothers me at the back of my neck, and I feel as though I can afford not to breathe, becoming the retina for the chrome and PVC cornea in the polished tile vitreous body. The architecture, this construction which is inside my head and allows the formation of bulbous thoughts and dripping, gleaming nodules of vision. And outside my head, I am implicated in a system which means that my view is not my own, but that of the building, of the architecture, designed by no one. A place where the idea of a singular vision, the imprint of human thought or feeling is lost. Buried in the glaucoma of committee, and then used for committee meetings, for conferences, as not place but between. I am similar. I am not similar. I am trapped, and I am released by the moment, as I sit an imposter pretending. At the one in King's Cross I used to try to act like I was staying. My facade was opaque as my skin and the bones underneath, but floating electronically in my brain was the truth, concealed by my hair and my epidermis, my dermis, my fatty subcutis, my skull, my meningeus sac, and my pia mater so well concealed. I was not staying, but I was, as I walked confidently into the lift past the reception desk. At the top, where I became part of the eye to this glorious overview, it felt like coming up for air, slowly and heavily with the grace of a blue whale. My head would feel wet and firm and dark, and I could feel the shape of the whale jaw growing out of my chin, and the spewed brine gusting with the sound of the gas brakes on those buses from the top of my skull. One evening I noticed a room door, number 713, left slightly ajar. Unsure of its inhabitants' responsibility for this mistake, or it being the carelessness of a cleaner leaving the empty room earlier, my heart beat in my neck as I longed to enter. The plan formed, to shove the door open with the determination of someone wishing to enter, but then to immediately run to the lift, which I would need to call first to ensure a swift escape. The hinges were stiffer than I thought. My shove was weak, and I only managed to allow a small flash of the yellow corridor light to enter the dark room. This was enough only to see the foot of the double bed inside and a lick of light, which left me uncertain of the number of its inhabitants, maybe sleeping. I tried again. This time the door swung hard, and as the number 713 disappeared away from me in slow motion, the door handle on the inside slammed hard against the wall. As I ran to the lift, the commotion and activity I was expecting never surfaced, and as I looked back to the door, it had stayed open to reveal an empty room. I slept for around an hour, finishing off a small bottle of whiskey and another of port from the well-stocked minibar, opening the curtains to reveal the late-night view of London, pockmarked by the lights which guide and those which don't. Back here at this hotel, I'm thinking of that hotel. It's like they are all portals. I piled up the bed and mattress on its end at around 3 a.m, so that it formed a wall blocking the window off from the rest of the room. The desk fitted perfectly in the bath, and the TV, buzzing on untuned, made me feel as though I was in some kind of vehicle like one of those Japanese monster movies, towering above the city, but not with violence in mind, only with the intention to look and touch, to run my hand over the top of the buildings and see what the collection of dust was like, to squeeze a statue between my thumb and forefinger, as though it was a tiny plastic model. Able to make sense with this overview, but disappointed because of my new distance from the detail below. I could see the whole picture, that shape of London, but none of the clarity in the small things which I had had when I was small and involved. I thought this must be how whales feel, and I left. Here at this hotel, I only sit in the lobby, the eyeball lobby. I wait for her to wake up, and then we go swimming. But in the time before, I lose my legs, and I am a blunt torso inside an eye. I can take in information like an easy injection. In the place where nothing stops, everything perpetuates, but my head suddenly feels like a marble, balancing on a blob, which has a small indent in the top to allow the marble to balance and rest, with its internal, colourful quiff, still and part and whole, but not both.